Howdy, folks. You're listening to Demon Dayz, an actual play podcast with a focus on fiends and the friends who play them. Wanted to give a quick shout out to KiloWhat, who does the artwork for our show. Amazing as always. Go check out her stuff. All the important links will be in the show description. And then I also wanted to point out that we have a Discord where all of us hang out, have a great time talking about all things nerdy, all things tabletop. There's something there for everyone. So come hang out with us. We can't wait to see you there. Let's get on with the show, shall we?
Friends, fiends, when last we spoke, our heroes had finished their fact-finding mission at the Mercurial Cabinet, and then decided to head straight over to the sink to reunite with Nax. Struck with inspiration, Taslin snuck in all incorporeal-like and gave her old lover boss guy the surprise of his life. The both of them then pulled their own prank, and that's where we'll begin the next exciting chapter of these Demon Days.
I'm gonna walk in to this room with like the most cocksured confidence, and when I get in there, there's the slowest like Loki hair flip. When I get in, and I see like, see you're doing just fine.
Yeah, like, you know, Tally here just couldn't keep a straight face. Oh God, it was so good. I did not. And I'm like smacking Nax in the chest, being like, I did not expect this when I came back.
And he just being so worked up, he storms out, pushes you guys aside.
Classic Tally.
Nax stands up. So, you must be the friends. I'm Nax Albindis. I run this thing.
I step forward and I'm like, Feder Ben-Augur Zafan.
Oh.
Nice to meet you.
Strong, firm grip.
Yeah.
And you?
No shenanigans. None of that, like, fucking bullshit, like, who can do the harder handshake, but just like a nice firm.
Yep.
I keep his eyes and I shake his hand.
Turns his attention to Yusuf. And you are?
Yusuf.
Great.
Slight nod.
Man of many words.
He told me not to talk.
Oh shit, I think we forgot to tell Yusuf about the black card. Oh well. Anyway, back to this fun.
Definitely did.
So keep that in mind. Nax, I apologize for my manners. Got a little bit overtaken with the past and pulling off a prank.
And present, as he looks at the water on the floor.
Oh yes, well, that was a part of it.
Did you fall into the tub?
Oh no, that was deliberate.
So you fell into the tub.
No.
Is it really falling if it's deliberate?
I mean, I guess not. You're all wet.
Uh-huh.
And I just, a little prestidigitation from the cane.
See, bless his heart, Talon Thane is very protective of me and has every right to be so. There's a danger to my life constantly. And, you know, I wouldn't have him on board if he wasn't that way. But I gotta have some fun. Anyways, this is quite a more exciting evening than I was planning. First with Taslin here, and then you two. I mean, I get this visit. But yeah, what are you all doing here?
Well, Nax, let's get down to business then.
Oh goodness. Feder, that Prestidigita thing. Mind hitting me up with that?
Sure.
Shouldn't do business all
I'll get him. I'll get like maybe a little close.
Okay.
just to fuck with Taz, and just like let's neaten you up then. No, you know.
There's definitely a moment where Taz is like,
yeah, just like
Heavy breathing.
Just straightening his lapels and patting down his. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and next, thank you. Moves back to his desk and sits down. Like, okay, well, to the point it is. What are you here for?
So I will actually hop up onto the desk and sit cross-legged. And it's very clear that is
so
like...
bratty.
It's very clear that is
such
a,
bratty behavior.
a seat that I'm used to having.
Sure.
So, yeah, just hop up on the desk, sitting cross-legged. Well, we have a opportunity for you.
Interesting. Go on.
I hear that things have gotten particularly difficult for the guild lately.
Roll an insight.
Oh yeah, I'm right there. That 8 becomes a 19.
Nice.
That's a nat 20, so 27.
Oh, shit!
I rolled a 19, so 24.
Wow. All right. Even though yours are high, I think... what was your number?
27.
27. Feder, yours was...
Oh, I was only 19.
27.
24.
24. Okay.
I got a nat 20, in case that matters.
Tazlin, you get the faintest hint of that affecting him, but he is very fast at masking it, and he rolled pretty high too. But there's a little something, and it's hard for you to tell what that is. If it's more of like, of course there's some trouble. It's you, or like there's a lot going on here, but a lot of that is obscured, even with your guys' high, your two's highest roll, high rolls. Yeah, let's get smooth. Yeah, so we have had some trouble. I can recount those with you privately if you wish, but that's neither here nor there. What do you have in mind?
I will lean forward and prop my hand on kind of my... I'll prop my elbow on my knee and then my head on my hand.
Okay, and he'll lean forward on in the desk and elbows on and kind of steeple his fingers together and point them in your direction. Like,
We have a situation with a particular group of gnomes that my friend Yusuf here is very sentimental and attached to, that are in possession of the Dominion.
that whole chestnut. Interesting.
Particularly around the Maw. In the Maw, the Undercity.
Yeah.
We think. The three of us are particularly good at handling quite a bit these days, and I'd be happy to help us both handle that situation and maybe get you a leg up.
Interesting thought. What do you know of this thing in the maw, or what do you have on it? I'm curious.
I actually kind of like lean back and just slightly catch a glance of Feder over my shoulder, kind of like being like, just really quick, how much do we want to give him? And
I visually did a thing I should say on the audio podcast. My eyes flash back like, your circus, your monkeys. Like you, whatever you think's right.
And I'll, like, in that moment, coming back to it, to sort of mask that I did that, I'll plant my hands on the desk and kind of shift from cross-legged to, like, open legs on either side of his arms.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, well, it is to our knowledge that the gnomes are being used to mine gems that have a particularly blood magic extraplanar ability.
And I'm definitely at that. I want to do an insight and see like if he registers anything when we mention the Scarol gems.
Okay.
25.
Ooh, okay. I can tell you this, and you notice he's, compared to anyone else you've dealt with, he's got a good thing going on here. He's masking. You know that he's keeping things close to the chest.
Right.
But the read otherwise is pretty hard.
Sure.
He's got a lot. Like he's working with a lot, and he knows some of the tools of the
Sure.
trade. I do know of that situation to some extent, in that part of our arrangement involves that situation. But that's a lot of information, and I don't know. I need some context. Keep in mind, you've just arrived. You've poofed into my bedroom, and you've all shown up very quickly. I'm not really that prone to give out too much. So let's make a thing of this. Why don't we share an information, enjoy some time here? There are a few things that we actually need to take care of, Taslin, that may come into play. But I can tell you this much, that to our part of it, we provide some protection down there, and in exchange we can get a blind eye turned. And there's a few of those types of deals in place, but that's the extent of it.
I'm flashing a slight glance over at Yusuf just to see if he's starting to get into that weird growly.
Yusuf is not looking at anyone. His eyes are on the ground, and he is doing his darndest to keep his emotions at bay. And he's doing a very good job at it.
Cool.
But you can, like, if Feder looks because he knows what to look for, you
Yeah.
can see the flames building behind his eyes.
Yep. I knew that was there. Okay.
Granted, it's messy business, this thing going on with the Dominion, and I don't care much for it. But given the position that we're in now, it's one of the few options.
I lean forward, but Nax, think about it. Just for a second. Come with me onto a journey of reality. Alternate reality.
Okay.
What?
Take me on this journey.
What if you were able to liberate these gnomes, take over this Skirl Gem operation completely, and oust the Dominion from the Maw? You would have control over that. It would give you a leg up.
That is attractive. But what is the big deal with these gems? I get that the Dominion is interested, and I get that our mandate is to keep that thing in operation, but they're a bunch of rocks. What's the value of those rocks?
They're not just rocks.
But why subjugate a group and force them into a form of slavery for this? Why do this?
Why indeed?
His eyes flit towards Yusuf, and then back, like a long look, and then back to you again, full attention. These are questions I ask myself, and I have lots of questions about this sort of thing, and some clarification on some of the value here might, I don't know, help in this conversation.
I just look at him and I go, why do any of the Drow do what they do in service of loss?
It's a lot of pontification from the Dominion's prison guards. And I'll put a little sauce on it.
Well, I guess to some extent we share in a fate of those down there, and that we are not given much of a choice. What is the deal with the gems?
The gems themselves have many uses. They have a property of blood magic if you need to. They do have an ability to breach dimensions. There's so many different things, but honestly, the main point of all of this is the gnomes. They are important to Yusuf. There's a liberation that I am asking your help for that I thought maybe you would understand. Do you not understand that anymore, Nax? Persuasion! Not very good. That's 15.
15?
Yeah. I have a +9. And I rolled a 6.
Next,
Nice.
feigns some hurt. Come on. You misunderstand. I think there's something here. But I also am not going to just turn around and help 2 new strangers because you say so. Now, this is all fine and dandy here, our little game and reunion, but you and I need to hash some things out. So let's make it a trade. Always a deal. Seems like this guy over here, points to Feder, understands the nature of a deal, the usefulness of a deal.
And I just dead-eye him.
Tell you what, all my information is yours. And I'll help you guys with this. We'll figure something out. I want to take you on a date.
Like there's no attempt to hide it. There's just surprise. Come again?
I don't know if you remember this, but a long time ago, maybe early on in your time here, you told me that it would be interesting to see how the other side lives. I have some tickets to a show at the Opalescent Menagerie. And if you want to do a history check on this, he's pulling a deep cut in a passing conversation.
21.
21. It is a very fancy show in the Neil. That its main deal is that it's the best of theater for the Neil, and something that would it's ostentatious, it's big, and you've since your time here you've heard of it. It is some degree of jealousy in that the entertainment here is the smash down, and lower theater, but this is kind of the height of the height. The one aspect that even a Neil hater, such as you all here, you would look at and be like, that would be cool to go.
Why would I'm sitting here like rapid fire in my brain being like, why would he have tickets to that? Why does he want to take me to that? Is he gonna is this an opportunity for him to turn me in? What the whoa, okay.
He does add, now granted, I've had these tickets for a while on a deal, and I've only had to merely make good on them. But it seems fate has made this decision. Fate has brought us to this place. Worth a thought.
So, let me get this straight. I go on this date with you. We hash our stuff out.
Well, of course.
And then you agree to possibly an arrangement of help between the 2 of us.
Yes.
Or at least talk about it on the table.
Talk about it on the table, tell you what's at stake, what we're up against, and what to expect. Yes. There's been a lot of shenanigans up there, up in the Neil. A lot of activity. And we can have a meal prepared for us. I can show you around, give you guys a little bit of a warm welcome, and give you everything you need.
Without breaking eye contact at all.
Yeah.
I just kind of go, Feder, Yusuf,
Yes.
your take?
Whatever's clever. I'm,
Nax smirks at that. I like that.
This means more to Yusuf than a play. So if the play is the thing.
Nice.
Theater.
He finally looks up from the floor at Taslin. He's like, I told you I trusted you. Although I will say, it seems pretty convenient that you're to be shown off in front of all high society when you've been gone for a very long time and people have been looking for you the entire time you've been gone. But I trust you.
And Yusuf, you get a sense there is a kind of a hubris to it, but not an unfounded one necessarily. If anything, like what she said with Cheshire being like, I'm just going to chance it, Nax would know people. And he'd have a decent enough time if things were wrong. And he's got Taslin with him, too. He would have Taslin with him, too. So some of those thoughts are kind of prescient on your mind.
Yeah, Nax,
And even
Nax is not a person that would take something by chance.
Yeah, and even at some point he sees the look on the kind of the wheels turning on in your head. Just looks right in them. He's like, and we've got Taslin here. I'll have her protecting me, keeping me safe from any harm that may befall me. I think the danger on myself is a bit worth it.
I think he's more worried about the danger to me rather than you, but...
What? You're not dangerous?
Extremely.
See?
Far more than you remember, but
yes.
sure.
What else would I expect?
I will lean forward even more.
Okay.
Get
This is like face to face now.
Real
Yeah.
close to his face, as close as I possibly can, and I go, fine, you have yourself a deal.
A date. Perfect. In that case, welcome to the Carnivale Mysterio. Let's get you situated. I've got a room with books and information we can sit at and lock ourselves away. This room is not where I would like to talk about any of this, frankly. But let me play a good host.
We finally going to see some games?
Yeah, there's not much carnival happening here. Like, there's no
I
ring
think they
toss.
might want to know a little bit of the mystery.
No, we're talking about the carnival. We've been the whole time. Like,
I mean,
there's
it's either
no
like a
corn
parade
dogs,
with
there's no
like
funnel
feathers.
cake, there's nothing.
We
I
put
mean,
on.
you guys, you walked into the carnival.
Let me
I walked into damp. That's
Looks
what
like
I
a
walked
boat.
into.
Kind of looks like a boat.
tell you what. This is actually a good opportunity, Taslin, to show them, I don't know, our main attraction, our Hall of Oddities, if you will. Can see kind of what we center this carnival part around. I should brag, I am able to get all manner of rare artifact item in my travel, extraplanar artifacts. I'm pretty good at this. And I've collected many over my time, and I don't know, I see them every day, but our attraction is these items and the stories that go with them. So, do you think that they would be interested in the show? Taslin. And he hasn't broken from the leaning forward. Like, he's still.
We are.
just-
Our
yeah.
noses are practically touching at
each
this
other,
point.
and I just like lean over to Yusuf, and I'm like, it seems more like a museum than a carnival. If you're,
There's no ring toss. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, it is.
I mean, it's always fun to show people around.
No.
I think it's safe to say we don't need to charge them tickets, though.
No. Our exchange of our transaction is fair enough as is. We don't need to add paper to it. And Nax steps back, gets up, and moves, like, doesn't kick the door open, but pushes it open with gusto and
Literally in sync, as he moves back, Taslin pushes forward off of the desk to like kind of get up at the same time. It's almost like things like that happened very frequently.
yes. You guys enter the Hall of Oddities, and you see a lot of things at once. First, the simple stuff. At your feet, you notice a fancy carpeted runner that spans from you to the other door at the far end of the room. There's a large rug in the middle, and along the wall at intervals you see what appear to be lamps made from extruding vines. A bit of a fey look to them. And all throughout this room you see a series of artifacts that are all lined up very neatly on display with little placards on them with their names. And as you go down them, let's start with, to the immediate left when you first enter, you've got what's labeled a Vorpal sword. And you see that it's a red-bladed sword with an ornate black hilt and handle. Along the red blade is a black trim that features lightly glowing runic text. On the other side of that, opposite end, you see what's labeled Tome of the Stilled Tongue. It's a thick leather-bound volume with a desiccated tongue pinned to the front. It's chained shut with simple chains. Next on the left, next and to the left, you see just this cage, and the label for it says Caged Invisible Stalker. And it's just, right now, to you, it looks like an empty metallic cage, which kind of sparkles and crackles as you get closer to it. And as you step away, it continues to crackle in various spots, so you get the impression that there is something in there testing every now and then.
As we walk by, I just slight shiver down the spine because it's always
Yeah.
really freaked me out.
Yep. It has always done that. It is always... The cage itself just automatically electrifies in response to close contact, tangible contact. And yeah. Across from that, you see what's labeled Loot of the Bard. And it's a simple, worn-looking loot that doesn't appear to have anything special about it. And then you move along down this path. Next item, you see a staff, a long stone staff with a crowned metallic cylinder at the end. Light smoke wisps out from the end of it. Light smoke wisps out from slits along the cylinder of the staff. Just, it continues to smoke, and it's Staff of Fire. Across from that, you see a suitcase, a leather-bound suitcase with implements and weapons that appear holy in nature. Along the trim of the suitcase are holy symbols etched in the leather. On the handle, you see letters VR, and the...
Troopers?
No. V.R. And the placard on this is Vampire Hunter's Suitcase. Moving along, as Nax guides you through this. Next, you see this rather large dragon head, this taxidermied dragon head. And it's just, the label is very simple, green dragon head. And then underneath, big fight. Across from that, you see a puppet whose face is contorted in a rictus grin and whose hair is matted and splayed out in all directions. Looks creepy as shit. The label for it is the Hand Puppet of Possession. And then finally, to the left, you see an empty mannequin torso used to show off robes. And then to the right, you see a slim suit of armor with jagged black metal plating, whose helmet resembles a grinning wolf. And the label underneath that says Armor of the Berserker. And Nax turns as he points as he guides you through. Welcome to our Hall of Oddities, the main attraction of the Carnivale Mysterio. We're always cycling in new items and finding, I don't know, oddities in this vast, vast world we live in.
So, do you sell these things? You
Oh,
just
hell
keep
no.
them?
We keep them here, keep them under guard. His eyes flit toward the mannequin, the empty one, and we bring them out as needed. These are our big hits for the moment.
Unless you have parents who steal things.
Nax chuckles. Oh, yes. Well, seems like someone has been keeping an eye on their old man.
Trying to.
Yeah.
Yusuf's gonna walk up to the leather case. Not gonna touch anything. He puts his hands behind his back and just leans in to look around in it.
Ah. The Vampire Hunter's Suitcase. Very exciting. Found that after a bit of travel. There was an expired vampire hunter who I hear tell was a great among them. And found his effects. But of course, that story, we can flavor it up for paying customers. But it is useful, especially if you're looking to take out some vampires. It is the accurate tool set. And you can insight if you want, but he's.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to insight his statement of that's the real deal.
No, fuck his statement. This guy's hot and cold running bullshit. Sorry. No offense. No offense.
Yeah.
But a bullshit. What do they say in, oh my God. Nope. It's very hot in here. My brain is not working. The Paul Rudd movie. Never bullshit a bullshitter.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is all getting cut out. Anyway, no, fuck that. Fuck him. No offense. And I probably will later, but like, we're going to, sorry, that was just for Tony. That was just for Tony. I want to look at these things themselves as far as the authenticity of the objects.
Sure.
With the old eye for detail.
Perfect. Yeah. Just a sweep of everything, one at a time, or just specific ones that.
The elder sign means a natural 20. 31, John.
31.
What's in this room? What's hiding?
Well,
The invisible stalker.
the invisible stalker is the one that's hiding, but everything here is the genuine.
Do I see like predator vision? Is there actually something in that cage?
Yeah, no, you sense the presence. It's hard to explain, but given its pattern of hitting the cage
Yeah.
and some of the air distortion around it, you're getting a solid shape. You
Can sense something.
Yeah.
A presence I've not felt since 8 years ago.
Yeah, you know that there is something in there, and you can chart its path. You could, if it were open, you could throw a dagger in there and hit pretty accurately. So nothing here is bullshit, although everything does have an element of maybe not from this planet, this realm. Maybe some extraplanar, extra-dimensional. There is an unnatural element to this.
Sure.
That lends some credence to its accuracy. That some of these seem pulled in from different multiple universes, let's say. Different magics can bring them in. So if anything, on a few of these, there might be some downplaying of it even.
Right.
The theatricality just
These are properly wondrous.
properly wondrous, yeah.
Yusuf is gonna walk over to the loot next.
And I'm kind of meandering my way around the room, just kind of touching the pedestals of the items. Nothing, pretty much everything, correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty much everything in here is something that I've seen at one point. There's nothing necessarily new.
Right.
So the entire time I'm also kind of like not making it aware, but peripherally just kind of watching Nax and sizing him up, trying to, get a bearing.
This particular room has always been a source of pride for him, and he beams a lot more in here. You would notice this a bit more. He has a very even keel of like a smoothness to him, but this has a bit of braggadocious to it. Like this is like I achieved these, I found these, I acquired them. This is what I do.
Loot of the Bard.
Ah.
He kind of turns and looks like, what's its history?
Well, from the stories, and take them as you will, apparently this instrument was able to work in such a way that you could get people to do what you wanted and follow you. And so the story is that a very enterprising bard decided to get a bunch of people to follow him and use this instrument to basically get his own posse of people. And
While that's going on, my next check is going to be not for because the first one was on the authenticity of what I'm looking at.
right.
Now I'm going into what in this room do they not want people to see. So I'm looking for hidden compartments, traps, you know what I mean? There's obviously a very curated draw your eye to these pedestals and these items, but what's hidden in here? 14 means 25.
25? There's no secret compartments that seem like they would just hold a cache of these sorts of things. If anything, given the size of the ship, the way this thing is built, and how the other there's not much more room for storage in the room farthest away, that maybe these are brought in, that there is an extra location, but there is nothing that triggers any sort of traps or extra spaces or tricks to it.
Okay.
And he continues to point things out. Yes, the loot of the bard is interesting. I have been told that if a spellcaster uses it, they can apparently cast Gaius with it. So it's an interesting tool, instrument, but it's probably best that it stays here. The empty spot, and Nax looks at Taslan, gives her a look.
I just kind of give a little shrug back to him.
Yeah. The empty spot was where we kept our robe of stars. And that would allow you to pop over to the astral plane, do anything within there, deal with any of those shenanigans, and come right back to the spot you left. Not very useful for a quick getaway. But maybe useful if you can wait people out.
Yusuf walks over to the sword.
Ah, yes.
Is it a long sword?
Yep.
I fed her a little bit.
He's always fucking staring at those big swords.
It's not as big as mine. 12 for investigation. What type of make does it look? What culture made it?
In this instance, there's a bit of an elvish make to it.
Interesting.
And you see Nax come up to you, Yusuf, points to your sword. Like, now that is an interesting sword. I see you are a person of interest with this sort of stuff. What is this? What is this deal? Where did you come across this beauty?
Oh, it was just a sword we looted.
Where, by chance?
To the south, actually.
To the south.
If I'm thinking correctly. Of our location on the continent. Yeah, I believe it was to the south. How long have you had this? And he takes a step towards the invisible stalker, towards the cage.
Oh, well, I mean, we've had this as long, at least as Taslin's been here. Maybe even a little earlier. That one always is a bit creepy, but people love it on the sensational front. It's just an invisible stalker. It used to be a bit more of a problem here in Skypoint. Nah, we took care of it.
I just, you hear,
Is it just the one, or was there an outbreak of them?
Oh, there was quite a few. An outbreak, yes. But I am not one to let something like this marvel just go extinct. No.
As they're continuing on, he'll make his way over to the... Kind of looks at the staff, and then he moves over to the dragon head. Like, what's the story here? He looks at Taslin. Back to him.
I had nothing to do with that one.
No. This one was before all this, actually. Happened upon a green dragon out in our travels and gathered a bunch of us together, us males, and took him out.
Males. He mutters to himself. How common, John, just generally in the world are dragons for us?
Right now, I guess,
Because we know that we know that at some point the mother of dragons held the fallhold, right?
Right.
At some point in the history. But like right now.
right now, there hasn't been word of any on the rare side.
Yeah.
You might hear of some news of dragon sightings across different on a different continent, but Valdarian has not been touched with dragons, at least as far as you know and your history gives you.
Yeah.
So, like, have they passed into myth, or they're just very, very rare?
Just very rare.
So we know they exist still.
Right.
Just hasn't seen them.
It wouldn't be odd to see the dragon head, but it would be like, okay, so where did you get this sort of thing? Because there's no reason why they couldn't come back. It's been a lull in the turn of time.
Very impressive.
Thank you. Those are kind words. We like to find these kinds of things, or at least I do, and I suppose more to the point of why you guys are here. I managed to find things, get things, achieve things. Why don't we go get something to eat up in my library, and maybe get down to business?
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like this is the main reason to be here. The rest, everywhere below, is just quarters for our guards and soldiers. And
So the skee ball machines you're saying are...
They're on the boardwalk.
Oh, okay, got it. Great.
yeah, and he guides you out of the hall of oddities. And as you all leave, he follows behind, shuts the door behind himself, hands behind his back, kind of shutting the door that way in a flourish, and then guides you up to this study with a large table in the middle and all manner of books. There's a passing drow as you come up the stairs, and he's like, "Food?" "Yes, sir." And he brings you in and sits you all down. Okay.
I'm at this point starting to notice that there are not familiar faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a single drow that you've seen so far other than Talonthane has been recognizable to you. Do you point that out to Nax, or do...
Yeah, when he walks away, I'll just kind of be like, had quite a bit of turnover.
Ah, yes. I'm sad to say that you only know of Talonthane and Maz.
Really?
They're all that's left of your time.
Where is Maz?
I'm told he's to report back in soon. I haven't heard from him.
Ah, man, that old lug.
I'm sure he'll be very surprised to see you, and very, very surprised.
Probably more than you were. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
well.
sure. That's for sure.
Takes a lot to surprise this old drow.
I kind of elbow him in the ribs, and I'm like, "I got you."
Remains to be seen. And smirks.
I'll actually I go, and then I just walk in ahead of him.
Yeah. Guides you in, and since you guys can sit down if you wish, or chill at the table, but he leans against it and leans into you guys. Okay, so to make good on my part of this, I guess let's start with the situation at hand. And he stops a second, moves over, shuts the door, comes back to his position, leaning on the table. A little bit of context is required here, and just bear with me. First thing is we've been in a bit of a spot after our friend Taslin here left us. The Beauteous Few sent a bunch of their chromatic vipers to kill me and anyone they could. It was a full-on invasion of us, and, well, they didn't get nearly as far as they wanted, thanks to Talonthane. You can ask him about his scars, but he got them to retreat. Killed a few of them along the way. So there's that. We're feeling the pinch of of all the factions, but specifically, we've been perceived as weak, and as such, the Dominion has paid us a visit, or they paid us a visit, and made me an offer. And early on in this process, something that I found a bit hard to refuse. We would assist the new Archmage of Skypoint in some clandestine matters. And in exchange, we wouldn't be wiped out. Now, given the attacks from the Beauteous Few and the other factions and our heavy losses, who was I to argue? A deal's a deal's a deal. And deals buy you time. So we would bring in alchemical and magical supplies from on Sheraban, Vespenistan, and Levustistan. And those main Drow metropolises we would just get the magic we find there. Useful for archmages, but a lot of the stuff we dabbled in has more of a kick. A little bit more dark, a little bit more potent. And so they wanted that. They wanted our access to all that. I was to locate a thing called a Staff of Invasion, which, if my information is correct, was a staff that would break heavy magical barriers. So if you wanted to get somewhere, let's say, and you were stymied by some magical bubble of any kind, you could break through. You could see with it, you could destroy it, but it does have a physical toll. It was a hard one to find.
So the entire time he's talking about this,
Yeah.
I am looking everywhere except for at him. Like, I'm purposely trying to avoid, like, eye contact, perusing the books,
Yeah.
whatever. And then the second that he brings up the Staff of Invasion, I just kind of momentarily, head in hands, crumple against a bookshelf before, recomposing myself.
And so anyways,
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm trying to think. Lesa, we had something like that, right? The staff of invasion.
We had the staff that had the gem.
We took one from one of the invaders, right? One of the demons. That's one of the staff she had. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that was the one that allowed us to close the rifts.
The rifts.
And then the other one that we found was the Staff of Thunder and Lightning.
He pauses a moment before moving on to the next point. We were also tasked with sourcing any research on these Skirl gems you were talking about and blood magic. Although that one is an ongoing thing and hasn't been very fruitful. And we've not been really given much of a reason. So that one's been, let's just say that's a weird priority shifting thing. And then we also had to, as a point of all these other orders, I had to take care of a particular wizard named Norath Kekamuna and destroy all his research on simulacrums, which we did. It was not sure what happened to his kid, though. That is a point of order I may have to follow up on, but not a priority compared to some of this other stuff we're doing. But yeah, that's the deal. And that deal is maybe not as ironclad as I wished, in that things keep getting added to it. So I'm not opposed to helping you with this situation, but...
So, I put you under the heel of the Dominion.
More or less, yes.
Dude, I'm cocking a hard eyebrow at all of that.
He doesn't waste a moment and moves on pretty quickly from it. I mean, as with that situation, the attention is what really got to us, and the beauteous few have always had it out for us, and they had a good strike. But
Seems like for someone that loathes the meritocracy so much, the loss of one woman shouldn't have crippled your entire organization.
It wasn't really a loss. It was a misstep that I took.
Still, their inability to recover is not fully on you.
I'm like kind of like dancing my fingers along the bookshelf, you know, pretending to swipe up dust that isn't there.
And I am just like low key, just staring daggers
yeah.
at Nax.
And he hasn't made eye contact in your direction, but he mentions there's also the bit with your father stealing from us, and so it's been pretty busy. But the meat of it is that we are working for the Dominion and might have some in to the maw.
To kidnap and enslave people against their will.
Yeah.
Super guilty glance over at Yusuf. Like, super guilty glance.
Did you or your people have anything to do with the attack on Dagnaruz or its fall, aside from acquiring this item?
This motherfucker might die right here.
He sighs, no, we didn't have anything to do with that.
So you didn't come up from underneath in the Underdark and attack from below and flank them at all?
No. Just found
Insight check. Motherfucking insight check. 21.
It's only a 10 for me.
21.
I move away from the bookshelf, strategically position myself in between them.
He seems
Thought
on the
you were
level.
smart. That's never gone well for anyone.
He,
Do I need to remind you of the succubus?
That's what I'm saying. That's not gone well for anyone. No,
he
he's not gonna
appears
attack.
he appears honest, but again, he's been playing it pretty hard to read for the most part. But you get the sense he's being genuine, and that we just had to source materials. Now,
What exactly do they want to know about these gems?
that is a good question. Out of anything we found, we've only found wild theorizing from strange mages and wizards and things along those lines, things that don't pass any academic muster. So we've been essentially searching for theory craft and all manner of guesswork. So I can only assume that it's to see how they work together. But it's the one area where we've kind of had to do as we're told and not ask too much about it.
Where did you find this staff?
It was pretty deep within the Underdark. Had to deal with a little pocket of illithid, but we took care of them. And I'm guessing that the nature of the staff had a lot to do with the thing that most illithid can do with their mind and blast energy at you. And I feel like what little time I had with the staff, that was its main function, is that it could give enough of a multi-tiered blast that it could just shatter anything along those lines. Any magic protection, but would have made a great collection. But instead, it was used for, which, you see, Nax, he's more putting on the show of thinking. The wheels are turning. He's trying to decide if he's going to mention this. Why the hell not? This Bonham character. might be some interesting information. If this is who you're looking into. Here we go. There are 3 of him in this city.
3 of him in this city?
Yes, as best we can tell. Apparently, there have been multiple sightings of him, which, when brought to my attention, didn't make a lot of sense, because it's one person. How can one person be multiple places at once?
Simulacrums.
Yes.
Which is why you were told to destroy all the research from the other mage.
I was told to, yes. He pauses to see if that sinks in. I was told to, yes.
But you cleverly decided to
Keep some of it. Look, I'm not going to completely bend over for the Alliance without causing my own ruckus. Hold on one second. He moves around the room a bit, shifts through some books, takes a couple out from one of the bookshelves toward the south, and takes a panel, shifts it, slides it over, reaches his hand through into a space that's just black, and pulls out some hastily put together pages that look like they were collated on the spot, and he tosses them on the table. This particular bit of information I found interesting, maybe a little exciting, and worthwhile, in case it ever came up. You can have it.
Glance over it. My Arcana's a +1. I'm not trained. But,
I'll give him advantage.
that's a 17 on the die, so 18. 18.
This is a particular bit of theory crafting from this Norath on the idea that simulacrums can hold pieces of a powerful being separated and allow them longevity if one body falls to return again later.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, you can split essence out, and it gives it a little bit of invulnerability, like a sense of you're not actually killing the one, you're killing a piece of one that can come back. And there's scribbles on there being like, phylactery? No. Maybe? And just lots of scribble as well. So there's some testing and some weird fringe work on simulacrums that this particular part, Nax says, to me sounded pretty interesting. And it got me to thinking about Bonham in general, the multiple sightings. There might be more to him than meets the eye, and more of him than meets the eye.
How often have you interacted with him?
Twice. At least the version that went on his merry little journey to capture the little gnomes.
I look at Feder. He's been going to Smashdown a lot.
Which, John, do I remember, because it's kind of emblazoned in my memory, that vision of him, turning over his shoulder when I stride in the tower.
Uh-huh.
And saw him. Which eye was milky? His left or his right?
Oh, boy.
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, and I think I only specified milky eye, so it was probably left, maybe?
Okay, so his left eye. When you spoke with him, which eye of his was milky?
The left one. He was bald. Mm-hmm. Good taste like me in that regard. But he wore all black, seemed slight of skin and build, but he had an air about him. Something I can't say I liked. And the second time was just a status report on some of our findings. And he wasn't happy, and I will admit to you that I was a little worried. But there's something off about him. Hence why I've grabbed things like this. I've not fully done my job here for them. It's a game of waiting and figuring, and
Well, your waiting's about to be done because I am going to fix this. What else do you have? I immediately went from guilt and everything to being super determined.
well, right now I've given you most of what I have, but I do have some guesswork, and this might require some investigation. The big thing is, if there's multiple Bonhams, as silly that is to say, And you can see it in the document. There would be an aspect to each of them. And that's as far as I could understand all that junk.
An aspect. How? Differences, you mean?
Well, how do you know the name of this Bonham? Like, what is his, like, moniker? Like, his...
The Bane.
The Bane? I feel like the name has something to do with it. And the other ones, if there's other ones of him, they would have some aspect, either similarity in name with a different moniker, suggesting what their essence is. And by removing those essences, my guess would be you would have a better chance of what you're trying to do.
He looks at Feder and he looks at Taz. He's like, Bonham hasn't just been going to the Smashdown. He's in it.
Yes, that is now apparent.
Right. So, Johnny, other guy.
Something the Beast.
Yeah, Bonhart the Beast.
Bonhart the Beast. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm guessing he's not a frail old man, though.
No. Very odd to, I guess, perhaps keep him hidden in safekeeping and very public.
Well, where best to hide something than in
Plain
Plain
sight.
sight.
plain sight. Yeah.
We are able to do that as a Drow. That is how a lot of stuff stays hidden. It's surprising what you can get away with right in front of people.
As long as you wear your big hats and your sunblock, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean, I was quite literally.
Sorry, I just gotta. I'm gonna keep talking
can keep
shit about
talking
your boy. I'm gonna keep talking shit about your
But
boy.
I mean, like, that was my entire purpose, was
Yeah.
to hide them in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taslin knows the deal. And sometimes the chaos is enough. The outward display is enough to make the deal.
So, talking a lot about deals. I love a deal. So you're saying,
Hang on.
yeah,
Feder, give me 1 second.
sure.
How long ago did this order come in about these gems for you to start finding out all you could about them?
The research for the gems was after the gnomes.
Right.
But there was some scuttle around the city too of a possible airship that
When
never
about-
came to be.
Sure. What about the new year, though? What about time, months, weeks, specifics?
That would be not too long after, actually.
So it wouldn't have been when we were still in trust.
Dates, first of the year?
Well, let's see. Hold on. It's not the not the first of the year, but after the tower, around there.
Because that's when you found out about the gnomes.
Right. So then after that.
Right, because we were heading south and we passed over it.
Right.
Right.
So that's what I mean, like the blood skirl thing. After that.
Because you saw the vision
Saw the vision of
at
it.
the tower.
And we
Yeah.
passed over going south.
Yeah.
That was before I had my magic little handy dandy portable crystal ball.
Sure.
But the simulacrum's earlier.
Right.
So the skirl stuff. That's why since Nax is having a harder time piecing that one together. That one's not they're not a long time in that search. A lot of it's weird theory. So he's having a harder time with that. The simulacrums was
What about this ship you just mentioned?
supposedly there was some ship out there that could fly, and Bonham was interested in that for a time.
But he's not anymore. Or at
No.
least that's where his focus has shifted from, according to you, just about the gems in general.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best. I hear that ship met a fairly tragic end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something about the idea of flying ships just doesn't sit well with me. I say in a half-sunken ship.
I was going to say, it's hard enough to keep a ship afloat, let alone loft.
Yeah, but I mean, this is pretty much what I have. We're on the, on task for the Dominion, and we're doing all this stuff. And right now, the focus is blood magic, skirl gems, but I mean,
You have no other orders as to what to research into them. It's just a general collection of data.
General collection of data. It's one of those areas where if it sparks the curiosity, I'll dig into it, but there's not been enough. I don't know. I haven't seen anything with it in action. I don't get much word from my men that are down there because they're under supervision. Like, I have to get permission to talk to my men down there.
What exactly is their standing order down there?
Get as much of the materials they can. Scrape out the undercity with it. Of it.
Are the gnomes down there?
Yes.
Where are they being held?
Down there.
Do you
At
know-
least those ones. I hear that a few were sent off to Glintstone.
To where?
Glintstone, far on the west coast.
What's there?
General ore, engineering, stuff along the lines of ballistics and things like that.
Say it one more time, John. Glenstone?
Glintstone. Yeah.
Glintstone.
Yeah. So, like, I'm sure you've seen some of my men with some fancier looking weaponry. A lot of stuff like that is coming out of Glintstone, and it's emerging. Some neat technology, but
That's what they're using the gems for?
I think that's unrelated to
I don't
this.
think so. As he looks at
No,
Taz
it's
and he looks
the-
at Feder.
I'm gonna say not. I'm not gonna say this out loud, but that's the firearms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we already saw that.
Yeah.
He had them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. So, to your grand deal, you show us how to get into the mall without going in head first for the cost of a date.
Yeah. There's a bit of history to work through, I think.
It is a little bit more than a date.
There's a lot. There's a lot to our past. Not just something that one small table conversation can really quite get to. He says as he looks at Taslin.
Turns out that Nax and his drow played their own part in the subjugation of gnomes at Dagnarus, and that they did so in a bit of desperation following Taslin's betrayal and flee. But perhaps there's more to that than meets the eye. Who knows? Guess you'll have to come back and listen to me talk more about these Demon Days.
Doop, doop.
Ooh, dirty.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to another exciting episode of Demon Days.
Oh my god!
Brought to you by Sprite. Oh, shit.
Brought to you by Arknight.
Quench your thirst.
Yeah, because we were fucking thirsty.
Just like,
Nope, not like that. Nope. No, open the bottle. Open the bottle.
oh my god.
That was me making a tongue flicking motion.
Yeah. Next one to the left.
Johnny.
How are you?
Howdy do. Drew is making a lot of
Making a
motions.
gecko face now.
Yep. Excuse me. Shit.
Shit. Well, shit.
Bloopers.
Just down the wrong pipe.
How are you?
All right, John. I'm ready for the guilt knife to be pushed even deeper.
Twist the knife.
Twist it deeper.
Deeper twists.
Hilt deep.
Because yes, let's remind Taslin how things that were her fault affected more people.
Oh, come on.
Remember how you said that you were wondering who he replaced you with? It's just guilt.
That's really funny.
Wow.
Wow. The funny thing is, like, dude, what you need to do, if you just talk to Feder, Feder will help you. Like, Feder's like, you have nothing to do with any of that. Like, you moved. They couldn't fill the void. That's not on you. That's on them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get on this lawful evil love train. I am ready to make you just toss all that guilt right out the window.